right now.
Good evening. It is 6:30. You will all please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 1B, approval of the agenda.
I move that the agenda for the June 26, 2023 regular meeting be approved. Support.
Motion by Mrs. Coleman, support by Mrs. Slayback. Discussion.
I would like to make a motion to move item 2A, new hires, to item 1E. So we have a lot of new hires here and. Right.
Motion by Mrs. Shaw to move item 2A up to item 1E, support by Mrs. Coleman. Discussion. All in favor of moving the item? Let me just do it.
Aye.
Awesome, wonderful. All right, there we go. So that's gonna mean, all the public will shut down to 1F. And board reports will shut it down to 1G. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Gobleski?
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman?
Yes.
Mrs. Slayback?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mrs. Mondeel?
Yes.
And myself, yes, motion carries. Item 1C, approval of the minutes, June 12th, 2023, regular meeting.
I move that the Board of Education approves the meeting minutes from the June 12th, 2023 regular meeting be approved. Support.
By Mrs. Shaw, support by Mrs. Coleman. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Gobleski?
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman?
Yes.
Mrs. Slayback?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mrs. Mondeel?
Yes.
And myself, yes, that motion also carries. Item 1D, superintendent report, Mr. Hughes.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out in the rain. It's gonna rain again tomorrow, so that's a good thing, right? Nature did its destruction with all the hailstorms, killed everything, and now it's bringing it back, I guess. All right, we'll start tonight with the budget hearing. This is to ensure that we have the information out there and part of protocol, so that we do have action item on adopting the budget and the amendment and the year amendment. So Rachel, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I thought I would start with a little story.
So today I was here busy getting ready for this meeting and trying to get my presentation together and figure out what I was gonna say, and my son calls, FaceTimes me. He had saved up some money, he had gotten some cool stuff on Amazon. Check out all my cool stuff, oh my gosh, look at this, blah, 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 and I'm kind of like, okay, buddy, that's great, you know, but it's kind of a big day, but whatever. And so I suggested that he call his dad and share that with his dad, and he said, well, I'll just wait till dad gets home because he's probably doing some really important stuff at work right now. So I know where I stand in my house, but even though no one else thinks I'm cool, whatever, so this is a very important night though, because on the agenda we have for you our budget amendments for June 30th, 2023, as well as our initial budget for June 30th, 2024 for your approval. As a reminder, we're legally required to amend our current year budget by June 30th, and also legally required to adopt a budget for the new year by July 1st. So that's why I'm here today on June 26th to take care of both those things. So you have in your packets a lot of detail, and all that information will be posted on our transparency page starting tomorrow, not tomorrow, Wednesday. But tonight I'm just going to give you a high level overview and point out a few key things. So we'll start out with the overview of our different funds. Governments and nonprofits use funds to track their various sources of revenue and the expenditures against that revenue. The names here are pretty self-explanatory to kind of give you an idea of what's going on within those funds. Tonight, I'd like to focus on the general fund since that's our main operating fund where all the day-to-day activity takes place. If you have questions on any of the other funds, I'd be happy to answer them at the end. So jumping right into our general fund revenue, you can see here a comparison between 2023, 2024. The makeup of these different categories of revenue remain pretty consistent from year to year. And as you can see, our largest source of revenue is from the state. This is really our foundation allowance times number of students, which is the biggest driver of our budget. Overall, we're budgeting a decrease of about $2 million, and that's really due to a handful of things. Most notably being we had received in 2023 a one-time categorical deposit for retirement. The thing with that deposit is that we get the funds, it goes right back to the state of Michigan. So it's an in and out, no net effect to our bottom line, but we have to budget the revenue and the related expense. So there really is no effect, but when you're looking at the revenue from year to year, it does look like there's a pretty significant dip there. So I just wanted to point that out. We're also budgeting less federal revenue this year as that one-time federal revenue starts to fall away. Both of those decreases are being somewhat offset by increases in other areas. Most notably, we are budgeting an increase in our per pupil foundation allowance. The state has not finalized its budget yet, and we obviously don't have our student count yet. So those are estimated figures in there. And once we have that information, we'll bring back the budget for an amendment at that time. So this is taking a look at our expenditures. Again, the makeup of the different categories is pretty consistent from year to year. Kind of a bummer that the spacing didn't work out as good on this one, but anyway, the largest area of our where we spend our funds is really in instruction, which again makes sense because it's what we're here to do, followed by support services, and that's really anything from direct people service like counseling or social work to pupil transportation, as well as items like keeping our lights on and our buildings operating. Overall, we're budgeting an increase of about $1 million, and that's really a combination of a couple different things. And we have some inflation adjustments going on. We have our contract settlements, steps, lane adjustments with our various groups in there. We shifted some capital outlay from 2023 over to 2024. And really those increases are offset partially by that retirement categorical expense that I talked about earlier. So really the net effect of all those things results in about $1 million increase in overall expenditures. So if we take those same expenditures and kind of look at them a different way, this is kind of what we refer to as by object. You can see that we spend a majority of our budget on salaries and fringe benefits, which again makes sense because we are a service-based industry. So that's not really uncommon. With purchase services being our second largest category, and that's really still mostly staffing related, just staffing that we contract out and services that we contract out rather than have here in-house. So that's that. Next, taking a look at our fund balance over time. And we've been talking a lot in the last couple of years of this one-time federal money and the impact it's had, and our fund balance is what it is because of these one-time dollars. And so you can really see that here and the effect of that here. In school districts, typically we use a metric of fund balance as a percent of expenditures to determine the overall financial health of a district. And so you can see here that for 23-24, we're budgeting about 20% of expenditures. Typically, you'd like to be between 15 and 20% to be considered in healthy financial shape. And so you can see that we're right in that range. However, if you're looking in the out years, you're seeing that fund balance is starting to come down as those one-time dollars start to pull away. And you might hear that referred to quite a bit as this concept of funding cliff. And then that's what you can kind of see here on this slide. The bars here represent our revenues, with the gray section of the bar being those one-time dollars that we received, and the expenditures plotted against those revenues on that yellow line. And you can see in the out years where there's a gap between that revenue bar and that expenditure line. And as that gray area or that one-time money starts to go away, and we've been cautioned, and common sense will tell you, you do not want to build legacy cost using one-time dollars. And we've been very, very careful not to do that. However, inevitably things have come up. We've had inflation adjustments. We've had to make wage adjustments and keeping our wages competitive because we've seen, pretty big numbers going on schedule in some of our neighbors. So we need to make sure that we are keeping up there. We've had programs added, most recently with safety as an example, is something that we have built in here into our out years. And so, all those things we are watching, and we're keeping an eye on those out years, but there's still a lot that's unknown, most notably with what kind of revenue is going to be available in those out years. So we will continue to look at that. We'll keep an eye on it, and we'll make adjustments down the road if we need to. But right now, as of today, we are sitting in a good position financially. So that's all I had prepared. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I do have a question. So you said there was a downward trend in revenue. Are we assuming that there won't be any new, we're assuming that there won't be any new grants or anything, but we're not sure yet, right? So we have to wait until those years to see if there are any grants or opportunities for more revenue. Is that true?
Right. So a
Okay.
couple different things. So yes, we're projecting here a decline in fund balance. And that is a result of the one-time federal dollars going away. But again, there's other things could come up down the road. We just don't know at this point. If you're looking at just revenue from year to year, that pretty significant dip is because of that one-time categorical for retirement that's an in and out. It's really no effect on our bottom line as a whole. But when you're looking at just revenue or just expense, it does look like there's pretty significant dip there.
Okay, and do we assume some student enrollment drop as well, right?
Yes.
Is that based upon what data?
So we have a company that we use to provide us with enrollment projections. And we use that when budgeting. Obviously, that's always just an estimate, and we kind of true that up, at count day. But it's a pretty thorough process as far as the information that we give to the enrollment company and the data that they look at to give us our numbers. But that's what we're using when we put that in our projection.
Okay, I think you do a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Just to remind the audience and the board, remember that the state does not have to adopt their budget until October 1st by law. We have to adopt our budget by June 30th. So again, as Rachel said, these are estimates to the best of our ability based on what we know now. And then we come back and do amendments at a later time when we know what the real numbers are gonna be. So it's always a guess until we get there.
I would argue that it changes every day, so it's not, it's almost like a living, breathing document. Like, I think I made adjustments the day after we approved our February amendment, so it's constantly changing, and we just have to, push the button and capture it at any given point in time and do the best we can there.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yep.
Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Wheeler up, and Mr. Wheeler is going to do the spring sports update, athletic update. So, Mr. Wheeler, I want you to know when Renee was looking at your slideshow, all I heard was ooh, ah, ooh, ah. So we'll see all the oohs and ahs that she was doing as I listened to her go through your show.
All right, I know we already talked about it. She said that she enjoyed it. I'm just gonna try to make sure I don't mess up the technology side of things here. Renee, do I just hit a arrow to switch? All right, thank you. All right, good evening, everybody. How are we doing? Good. I'm JD Wheeler, as you guys know, and I am happy to talk about our spring sports from this past year, another successful spring that I was very, very excited to be the leader of. There we go. All right, spring athletics by the numbers. So this spring we had 9 varsity programs. Our middle school had 2 programs with a total of 20 teams from 7th grade all the way through 12. Our total number of high school athletes was 334 this spring. I believe our middle school athletes were right around 70. I think Jerry had on his boys and girls track team combined. So we're right around 400 student athletes in total. The high school programs that we had were softball, baseball, boys lacrosse, boys track and field, girls track and field, soccer, boys golf, and girls tennis. That's what we provide in the spring. And then for middle school, we have both boys and girls track. Again, like I say every time that I do this presentation, we pride ourselves in our student athletes being students first. These numbers really jumped out to me when Liz and I, my secretary, did the calculations. I said, holy smokes, we had a really good spring academic wise. I know we were printing off certificates for Heartland and KLAA scholar athletes for People's Banquets. A few of our different teams, it was the entire team got the certificate. So it was really, really cool. So if you take a look at it, our Heartland Scholar Athlete Award winner, the threshold for that is a 3.0 GPA. We had over 75% of our student athletes receive that award. And then for our KLAA student athlete award winner, it's a 3.25 GPA, and we had 67% of our student athletes meet that threshold. So I was very, very impressed, and that's a pretty big uptick from our winner athletes actually. So my final number that I ended with as we were doing college signings throughout the year was 33. We had 33 of our seniors, class of 2023, go on to play college sports, or they will be this fall at the next level. I think that's really impressive. I think that's a testament to just how well Heartland prepares our students and our athletes to go on and go into 4-year colleges and universities. Now more than ever, it's tough to qualify to be a college athlete. I mean, obviously you have to be talented at your sport, but you also have to carry the academic requirements, which are not easy. So this is really something that I'm very proud of as well, as the 33 student athletes. I'm going to quickly go through all 33 of them. I'm going to quickly go, but this is the ooh and ah part, Renee. This is where we get to see some pretty cute pictures. So Madison Armstrong, the student athlete who's going to Lawrence Tech for cross country. Andrew Barrett for swim and dive. Peyton Bell for tennis. Christian Barris, he's going to Russell Sage University in Albany, New York for soccer. Logan Berner for baseball, Indiana Tech. Fiona Blush is going to University of Kentucky to cheer. Braden Bobo is going to wrestle at Grand Valley. That's one of my favorite pictures. I like that one. Evan Busby, he's going to play lacrosse at Dartmouth. He's one of our Ivy League students. They're super impressive. Sam Clay is going to play baseball at Davenport University. He's my son's hero. Vincent Cox, he's going to play football at Harding University in Arkansas. Matt Craven is going to play baseball at Cornerstone University. Luke Diver is going to play football at Elma College. There he is with that pizza. I made fun about that one. Emily Fisher, she's going to palm at Grand Valley State. Abby Gardner is going to play softball at Lawrence Tech. Abby's here tonight. Yeah. Ava Giardoni is going to play lacrosse at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York. Gannon Grumman is going to Michigan State to play baseball. Colton King is going to play baseball at Northwood. Bryson Larson is going to play baseball at Northwestern University in Lima. Liv Linden is going to play basketball at Lawrence Tech. Joey Mattert is going to play football at Eastern Michigan. Chloe Mirnick, Eastern Michigan as well for lacrosse. Audrey Penzine is going to play lacrosse at Siena Heights. Evan Phillips is going to play lacrosse for Northwood. Lily Pease is going to cheer at Western. Ben Pouliot is going to be a hockey kid for us. He's actually going to play in the junior hockey league for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Junior Knights. Matt Priest is going to play soccer at Lynn University. Sam Ralston is going to the United States Military Academy. He's going to West Point and he'll play lacrosse. Super impressive young man. Josh Ray is going to swim at Ohio Northern. Ethan Smith will play lacrosse at the University of Dubuque. Kylie Swierkos is going to play softball at Grand Valley State University. We'll hear from her in just a little bit. Maddie Turcott is going to play lacrosse at Concordia. Jax Wilson is going to play football at Michigan State University. Michael Yarber is going to play baseball at Walsh. And those are all of our college athletes. So super, super impressive group from class of 2022. This May, we were also able to award our male and female athlete of the year for the class of 2023. So I thought it was fitting to share with you guys our nominees. So our male nominees were Sam Clay, Braden Bobo, and Joey Mattert. We saw all of them that are in their slides. Sam's a baseball and football kid for us. Braden was an all-state wrestler, and Joey Mattert plays football and lacrosse. And our male athlete of the year was Sam Clay. Our female athlete of the years were Delaney Gomolka. She's a gymnast for us. Chloe Mirnick she golfed and also played girls lacrosse. And then Carly Mitchell was an all-state bowler for us. And our female athlete of the year was Chloe Mirnick, and she's going to Eastern to play lacrosse. I like to use the little tagline chasing titles. I think I've told you guys that before, where we always want to say that Heartland is the type of school who should be competing for titles. We expect excellence. We want to make sure that we do it the right way, but we do expect to be there when it's trophy time. So we had a lot of our spring sports did a really good job and collected some titles. In track and field, we had 3 individuals qualify for the state finals. In baseball, we had district champions this year. Girls lacrosse, they won the KLAA. They were regional champions and they made it to the state Final Four. Boys lacrosse, they were KLAA champions, regional champions, and they were state semifinalists as well. And then there's our softball team, KLAA champions, regional champions, and state champions. And I'd like to invite them up to the podium. This is a super special group of young ladies and coaches. I do have to say, come right up here. Come right up here.
I did only to save.
Which way do we want them to face?
They were super cool.
Maybe face that way, but then when you talk, you'll talk in the mic to these guys, okay? You just, all you have to do is say your name, Jay. You'll be fine. So this is a super special group of young ladies. I had a blast following them throughout the season and then during their tournament run. You can definitely tell that they are family. Coach Wagner wasn't able to be here today. She's actually originally from Iowa, and she had it scheduled that as soon as the season was over, as soon as your banquet was over, she had to hustle to Iowa to hang out with her family. But I know it's killing her not to be here tonight because how she preaches family, and I know she wants to be part of this. But I do want to say that she is an amazing coach. She's done an amazing job with these young ladies. So I do want each lady or young lady, if you would, please just say your name, grade, and maybe what you play. Okay, and then I think, was it Kylie and Abby are going to say a little something at the end? All right, go ahead.
I'm Jayla Nakovich, and I was a junior this season, and I played shortstop. I'm Faith Illinois. I was a senior, and then I played third base. I'm Sadie Malik. I was a sophomore, and I caught.
I'm Eliana Newer. I'm a freshman, and I play first base.
I'm Kennedy Ives. I'm a freshman, and I play outfield.
I'm Olivia Forrest. I'm a freshman, and I played pitcher.
I'm Maddie Moore. I'm a freshman, and I played shortstop.
I'm Abby Gardner. I'm a senior and I played center field.
I'm Kylie Storkos. I'm a senior and I pitched.
I'm Lindsay Brandon, and I'm one of the assistant coaches.
I'm Kenny Moore, and I'm also one of the assistant coaches. Rick Morton, assistant coach, and he brought me along for the ride.
This was my last year playing softball, and I was so fortunate enough to play 4 years of it with Heartland. And speaking for myself and on behalf of the whole team, this whole ride wouldn't be possible without the community of Heartland just showing us so much support and love, from the bus ride to the state champs the morning of, with the whole community rallying around by Imagine and then being escorted by the police to Michigan State was just so awesome. And going to Wings, etc., and being catered to by the whole community of Wings, and even here just being acknowledged. I just want to thank all of Heartland for showing a tremendous amount of love and support to Heartland.
Yeah, so I'm also a senior. This is my last year, and just being able to finish out the year with a win. And not many high school athletes get to say that, that they finished their career going out on a win. And for our senior class, we get to say that. So it's something super special. And like Abby said, the support of the community was something that we can never forget. I mean, me being a pitcher, I pitched championship game, and going out there and seeing all the support in the stands from the community was definitely an experience that I'll never be able to forget. So thank you to everybody.
So like I said, super impressive group of girls. Really good job, guys. Do you have any questions for me or for any of the girls while they're up there?
I did hear a trivia. The trivia was, we have a player sitting up here that won the state championship, and her brother won the state championship in baseball, right, Mrs. Illinois?
Yeah.
Yes. That's pretty cool.
Yep, 2018, Hunter was on the team that won baseball, and Faith
Yeah.
as a softball state champion. Yep.
Awesome. Congratulations to all of you. We're very proud of you. So good luck. And a lot of freshmen. That means potential future, right?
Future is bright. Future is bright. All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, next I'd like to bring Matt up. Matt, if you do a bond update, and just as Matt's walking up, just a reminder to the community, you see a lot happening in the district at the high school. Especially, you're not seeing much happening at the other buildings, but farms and the middle school are getting interior renovations done right now. So a lot happening in the district. Reminder also that you can go to our website and check out the bond 2020 or 2020 bond button at the bottom, and you can see these updates each time that we do them. So please do that. And I think Mrs. Spurge, who is taking care of our social media, is doing a great job trying to send information out regularly on what's happening with our bond program.
Well, I don't need to speak now. So good evening, board. It's actually hard to believe about a week from now, we'll be halfway through construction season. So, hear me now?
Yeah.
There we go. So, we're doing a lot of work behind the scenes. This is just a preliminary list, but I'll get in the meat and potatoes. Over at Farms, we're working on the collaboration center over there. Opening up those walls. That's going to be a much more inviting space, a much more collaborative space. If you guys do remember, Farms Media Center was kind of dark, a lot of it. So there's new windows and things like that that are going to open up to the hallway. There's a new collaboration space here where kids can get together and show their displays on, or show their presentations on displays and things like that, and actually work together on projects. So right now at this stage of the game, we're doing the drywall, we're doing the floor prep, we're painting, we're putting window frames in, and we're reconfiguring the mechanical units. So we're well underway and we're putting things back together at this stage, which is really good. Over at Orr Creek, same thing with that collaboration center. Drywall is going up, floor preparation, painting, the mechanical unit reconfiguration is ongoing. We're putting up walls. One of the things that came from meeting with the with Lawrence and Chris at that building is more space for bringing kids in to meet with psychologists and things like that. They did not have those spaces at the middle school. So that's what this area over here is. More space for those LESA teachers and teachers to meet with those students. The Kiva lighting was replaced, and then the Commons lighting is set for replacement in July. The chiller replacement, which we were aware of when we did this, chillers are 80 weeks out. We did order this back in last November of 2022. So that will go in as soon as we get it. We can do it in the winter months or April before we actually start up for cooling season. The HCSC here, the gymnastics gym was painted. That has been brightened up by the paint, as well as allowing us to move all the gymnastics equipment and replace all the lighting in there. We had some lights that we couldn't get to just because of the way the floor was or the uneven bars. The chiller replacement for here, which services the auditorium and senior center, is also December, like Orr Creek. And then the auditorium, we had to wait till Mr. Usher's programs ended with dances and things like that so that we can get started on doing the lighting and curtain replacement in August. The high school collaboration center is also underway. The lighting was replaced in that center. We're painting currently. We're doing the floor prep. We also opened up some windows in the side offices that were in that area also over here. The commons lighting was replaced in the main commons, also the front entryway and the two staircases that lead up to the third floor are getting done. We're doing a lot of behind the scenes work. We're replacing 30 HVAC fan coil units that service classrooms. And upgrading all the temperature controls in the high school. Those temperature controls were back from 2002 to 2003, which, like any computer, needs to be upgraded, unfortunately, and so that work is underway. The auditorium, same thing as this building. We had to wait till the programs ended. The high school auditorium ended earlier, so that work is starting in July. So once they're done with the high school, they'll move over to this building. Also at the high school, we're doing site paving and utilities. We did finish the pool lot, and we're working on the bus lot on Saturday. Unfortunately, they got rained out. So they have the first course about 3/4 of the way done, and then they're going to work on that the rest of this week and get that knocked out. And then they'll start moving up to the student drop-off area and student parking or staff parking lot. We did upgrade the main sewer line for the high school. That is in. All those manholes and the main sewer line, which is that black piece of pipe sticking out right there, that runs all the way underground under those baseball fields, under the Orr Creek bus lot, and actually discharges towards the back of Orr Creek. It's more about sewers that you probably didn't want to know, but that's what I told you. The stadium, we're working on the stadium. They were actually working in the rain today, which is great. They're getting all the stone down, got all the flat drain down. We're anticipating turf arrival on July 1st, as well as the shock pad. So the shock pad will go up on top of the stone, and then we'll start installing turf hopefully next week. Start bringing some stuff on site. So they're moving very quickly because we have that deadline of the first football game, which we obviously cannot move. That is a quick synopsis of everything this summer. We're moving very quickly, getting a lot done. We have not started baseball, softball complex yet. That is going to start next week. We wanted to focus on the football field. The baseball, softball complex upgrades will happen into the fall, most likely. But we wanted to make sure the football field and track were taken care of first. So any questions?
Matt, I was just real quick, so with the baseball, softball, what is actually gonna happen back there?
So yeah, they're actually getting a set of restrooms, which I'm sure everyone will appreciate that's sitting behind me. They're getting restrooms, they're getting concrete throughout. They're getting some seating, some permanent seating behind the backstops, as well as the press box at both sites. They're getting a flagpole so that no one has to put up a American flag for a tournament or things like that. We're gonna have that all the time. And then we're actually upgrading some of our irrigation out there so that we're not having issues anymore. So it's getting probably about $1 million, I believe, of upgrades in that area.
Batting cages.
Oh,
and-
batting cage turf also. Yep. Thank
and
you.
Net to catch all the softballs.
I was gonna
You
say
go back there right
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You go back there right now and you look in the pond, it looks like there's a lot of green lily pads, bright green lily pads. It's just softballs.
Yep. That is a 30-foot fence. Shouldn't be going in there anymore. So
Thank you.
good.
Mine's just, it's more of an observation. It's a lot of work going on, and I can imagine that you're busy as heck figuring it out and implementing everything. And then I do have a quick question. So we weren't the ones that really talked about redoing the fields. We're redoing the football field.
The main stadium, correct?
Right, okay, so what was the benefits, and could you send me the benefits analysis of doing it in turf, in the rubber matting versus grass? Because I know I visited, when my kids were playing, and
Yep.
the turf fields did have a different feel than grass.
Each has its own pros and cons. Yep,
Mhm.
definitely. So
Okay, so if you could send me a benefits analysis that you guys use, it'd be great.
Yep.
Thank you.
anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
So that's the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Item 1E, new hires.
I move that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, offers a 2-year administrative contract to Brian Hassler at the step 1 salary track pending verification of credentials and Public Acts 99, 83, and 189 requirements. Support.
Motion by Mrs. Coleman, supported by Mrs. Blaylock. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Gogolewski?
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman?
Yes.
Mrs. Blaylock?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mrs. Blondeel?
Yes,
I myself, will yes, that motion carries. Congratulations.
Hello again, everyone. Very pleased to introduce you all to Brian Hassler. Brian is going to be our new athletic director starting June 5th, correct, Brian? Or I'm sorry, July 5th, July 5th. Brian is someone who we put through the ringer. We had a pretty extensive interview process for Brian. I know that he did a long phone screening with Mr. Hughes, and then he sat in front of 12 of us on our interview committee. And then after that, we had him come back one more time, a little more informal, ride around the golf cart to look at all of our facilities and things like that. And we're very, very pleased to have Brian here, taking over the athletic department. Brian, it came to us from his first job was Bishop Foley, where he was an athletic trainer for 18 years. And he actually became their athletic director after being their trainer. He was the AD for 5 years at Bishop Foley, and then he went on to Rochester Adams, where he very, very successfully captained that ship at Rochester Adams for 3 years. Very successful programs at Adams. I know some state championships and things like that. So when Brian came through and we put him in the short stack, I knew he was going to be somebody that we really needed to take a look at. So without further ado, I introduce you to our new athletic director, Brian Hassler.
Thank you. I want to thank you guys for the opportunity. I know JD probably won't say it, but he's done a phenomenal job here. He set a high standard for this position, which I take, great responsibility in taking on this position. I think, again, you have phenomenal student athletes, phenomenal community, and I look forward to serving the community. Awesome.
I move that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, offers a probationary teaching contract to Amanda Belzak for the 2023-24 school year at the step 6 MA salary track, pending verification of credentials and public acts 99, 83, and 189 requirements if applicable. Support.
Motion by Mrs. Shaw, support by Mrs. Claybaugh. Discussion. Hearing none, Mr. Yagowski.
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw.
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman.
Yes.
Mrs. Claybaugh.
Yes.
Mr. Keller.
Yes.
Mrs. Bonnefield.
Yes.
Yes, hopefully, yes, that motion carries. Congratulations.
Hey, everyone, happy summer. So I get the pleasure of introducing Amanda. She's one of our 3 hires tonight. She is special education and she blew farms out of the water. We interviewed there first, was sort of a fight to the finish, and then came over and interviewed with the Creekside staff. And we thought she would be a phenomenal fit for our extended resource program, which is hosted at Creekside, which is a district program. So she has a ton of credentials and a ton of experience, and we're stealing her from the Livonia schools. So I'm super excited for her.
Thank you.
I move that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, offers a probationary teaching contract to Savannah Burkholder for the 2023-24 school year at the step 2 BA salary track, pending verification of credentials and public acts 99, 83, and 189 requirements if applicable.
Motion by Mrs. Claybaugh, support by Mrs. Coleman. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Yagowski.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman.
Yes.
Mrs. Claybaugh.
Yes.
Mr. Keller.
Yes.
Mrs. Bonnefield.
Yes.
And myself, yes, congratulations.
Good evening, everyone. I am simply delighted to introduce Savannah Burkholder. She'll be joining the 3rd grade team at Lakes this coming school year. We are getting Savannah from Bath Elementary School. She is well versed in instruction, and what struck me the most in her interview, she said, not all children travel through the curriculum the same way. So Savannah's coming to us with a very strong understanding of how Heartland already operates. We meet kids where they are and we support them in their growth. So welcome, Savannah. We're excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to a great year.
I move that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, offers a probationary teaching contract to Lauren Burnett for the 2023-24 school year at the step 1 BA +20 salary track, pending verification of credentials and public acts 99, 83, and 189 requirements if applicable.
Motion by Mrs. Coleman, supported by Mrs. Shaw. Discussion. Hearing none, Mr. Yagowski.
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw.
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman.
Yes.
Mrs. Claybaugh.
Yes.
Mr. Keller.
Yes.
Mrs. Bonnefield.
Yes.
Myself, yes, that motion carries. Congratulations, Lauren.
Good evening. It is my honor to introduce Lauren Burnick to Heartland Schools. She comes to us from MSU, Michigan State University. This is her first teaching position. We're glad that she chose Heartland. We had to do a little kind of second interview to bring her in and make sure she was comfortable with the high school position, but glad to have her. And she also has some coaching experience in volleyball, and hopefully maybe down the road she can fit into one of those roles. So Lauren Burnick.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I'm super excited to start.
I move that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, offers a probationary teaching contract through Kyle Duncan for the 2023-24 school year at step 3 BA salary track pending verification of credentials and public acts 99, 83, and 189 requirements if applicable.
Motion by Mrs. Shaw, support by Mrs. Clayton. Question. Hearing none, Mr. Novoselsky.
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw.
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman.
Yes.
Mrs. Blaylock.
Yes.
Mr. Keller.
Yes.
Mrs. Bondiel.
Yes.
I was also a yes. Congratulations, Kyle.
It's an honor to introduce Kyle. Mr. Hughes and I had the final interview. Kyle comes to us with 6 years of experience in PE and health. He is a native of New Lothrop.
That's correct.
Graduate of Saginaw Valley. If he lives up to his references as a great communicator, he may be up here for about 5 minutes, if that's okay. But certainly he'll live up to being dependable, organized, and a great motivator. So we look forward to having you at the high school.
Just want to say I appreciate the opportunity to serve this great community, and I look forward to where this grows and the legacy of Heartland Schools. So I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
I recommend that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, offers a probationary teaching contract to Joel Funston for the 2023-24 school year at the step 1 BA salary track pending verification of credentials and public acts 99, 83, and 189 requirements if applicable.
Motion by Mrs. Clayton, support by Mrs. Bondiel. She got it in front of you. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Novoselsky.
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw.
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman.
Yes.
Mrs. Clayton.
Yes.
Mr. Keller.
Yes.
Bondiel.
Yes.
I'm myself, a yes. Congratulations, Joel.
Good evening, everybody. Very excited to present Joel Funston to the board. And I've done this job, education a long time, and I've called numerous interviews over the years and even more references. I've never had people so excited to call me back and just raved about Joel. He spent time at his student teaching in Novi, in Belleville, and also in South Lyon. And passionate, involved are things I heard about Joel. Best student teacher I've ever worked with over 20 years. Experience comes across as an experienced teacher was what I heard from his university supervisor. He's engaging, he makes history hands-on and relatable. Most importantly, he's excellent with the kids. And so very excited to have him at Oak Creek. He's also served in the U.S. Army National Guard the last 4 years. So thank you for your service, Joel, and excited to have you at Oak Creek. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I move that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, offers a probationary teaching contract to Elizabeth Gilardoni for the 2023-24 school year at the step 5 MA +15 salary track, pending verification of credentials and public acts 99, 83, and 189 requirements if applicable.
Motion by Mrs. Coleman, support by Mrs. Shaw. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Novoselsky.
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw.
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman.
Yes.
Mrs. Clayton.
Yes.
Mr. Keller.
Yes.
Mrs. Bondiel.
Yes.
Myself, my yes. Congratulations, all of you.
So I have the pleasure of introducing Elizabeth. One story from an interview. So she applied for our kindergarten position at Creekside, and we all know kindergarten is a whole new beast of its own when you teach it and stay in it. And we asked the question of how do you keep your students involved? And she gave the best hands down answer. She said, you sing, you stand on your head, you do everything that you need to do to make them learn. So she definitely is a kindergarten teacher. She comes from us, from Linden School. And she has experience. She also is a Heartland graduate and married a Heartland graduate. That's another thing. My 3 candidates all are going to be staying a long time. They all have kids in our schools. They're all coming from other schools. And I think that really says something for the interviews or the applications that we get, is that people are willing to give up good teachers, are willing to give up years of experience at other schools to come here and give us their wealth of knowledge. So we are super excited for Elizabeth to start kindergarten at Creekside.
Thank you.
I recommend that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, offers a probationary teaching contract to Rachel Hayes for the 2023-24 school year at the step 6 MA salary track, pending verification of credentials and public acts 99, 83, and 189 requirements, if applicable.
Motion by Mrs. Clayback, support by Mrs. Coleman. Question. Hearing none, Mr. Gobleski?
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman?
Yes.
Mrs. Clayback?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mrs. Bonnefield?
Yes.
Myself, a yes. Congratulations, Rachel.
So Rachel Hayes is going to be joining us in our 3rd grade. She has 2 students in my building already, which is sort of nice. I have never had so many teacher calls after I have performed 1 interview in my life, because everybody believes that Rachel is an amazing teacher, not only from her school district, but she is friends with a lot of Heartland people. And everybody raved about Rachel, and she was phenomenal during her interview. She comes with intervention time, 3 through 5 experience, and 16 years?
Yes.
16 years experience. We are super excited to have Rachel. She's going to make a big difference in our 3rd grade at Creekside.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am so beyond excited to join the Heartland community as a staff member now, not just a parent. So thank you.
I move that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, offers a probationary teaching contract to Sarah Rainwater for the 2023-24 school year, step 11 MA plus 30 salary track, pending verification of credentials and public acts 99, 83, and 189 requirements, if applicable.
Motion by Mrs. Coleman, support by Mrs. Clayback.
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman?
Yes.
Mrs. Clayback?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mrs. Bonnefield? Myself, a yes.
Good evening. I gotta tell you, those in the English as a second language world knows how hard it is to find anybody who's certified in that, let alone really good ones. So I was a little bit nervous. The first person that comes through the door to interview with me is a rock star. Over 17 years of experience at Genesee ISD as a coordinator, a supervisor, a teacher of ESL students. And we're super excited that she can get back into the teaching students realm. High energy, high passion for the job. And we got really fortunate to be able to have her. So welcome.
I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to continue
dedication to excellence for all students. I'm so excited. Get good time again. Thank you. First ever.
Yeah.
I move that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, offers a probationary teaching contract to Therese Spicer for the 2023-24 school year at the step 2 BA salary track pending verification of credentials and Public Acts 99, 83, and 189 requirements if applicable.
Motion by Mrs. Shaw, supported by Mrs. Coleman. Discussion. Hearing none, Mr. Goblowski.
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw.
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman.
Yes.
Mrs. Graylock.
Yes.
Mr. Keller.
Yes.
Mrs. Montiel.
Yes.
Myself, yes, congratulations, Teresa.
You know, they're all wondering, right? They're all wondering.
Yeah, I've gotten that question.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Not related.
No, if anything, third cousins once removed,
Yeah.
supposedly.
Get close to them.
Yeah, relatively new to Michigan, in fact.
Yes.
I'm thrilled to introduce Therese Spicer, who will be joining our second grade team at Lakes. Therese is coming to us from Carmen Ainsworth Schools. She has an incredibly strong foundation in differentiation. I think what amazed everyone that sat on the interview committee about her was the natural conversation that happened. The entire interview felt like she was already a part of the team and already working with us and just talking about our kids and moving them forward. So it was a really neat feeling to have it be that natural. So she definitely has demonstrated her ability to make connections right away, and we're looking forward to having her as part of the team.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'm extremely excited for the upcoming school year.
Congratulations.
Item 1F, call of the public. Prior to the call of the public, I do again, just reading from the text that you have on your speakers are asked to express themselves in a civil manner. Due to respect and dignity, privacy of others who may be affected by your comments. Just like last time, we'll have a timer going that will be set to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You should be able to hear go off if you're up here talking, and then that's just kind of your cue to wrap things up. I also want to, prior to call the public, thank Deputy Hilliard from the Livingston County Sheriff's Department for being here with us tonight. Appreciate you being here. So with that, we do have a few cards. First card, Amber Fry.
Everyone. All right, so as a parent with a child with an IEP in HCS, I wanted to add some input on the topic of special ed funding. I feel that we've all learned this year that some of our high support needs students are not having their needs adequately met. It leaves us to wonder why these special education teams have access to professional level behavior experts as board certified behavioral analysts. Why aren't registered behavioral technicians being used as one-on-ones for the high needs kiddos? The underlying answer, of course, is that these kind of supports are expensive, but that is not a reason to allow high support needs kids to continue on without the help that they need to be successful in school. Not having the proper funding for that is not really working. I feel like it starts here with you guys. So I was present at the district special ed discussion panel last month, and That was a really nice thing that you put on. I do feel though that they kind of give us a little bit of canned, very PC responses, that they have everything that they need. They have no more need for resources. But we see teachers being forced to work with less than adequate supports. The special ed directors state that experts are indeed working on staff at HCS, but when talking to those in the trenches, the actual teachers and support staff, it's kind of a different story. It's clear that there's a disconnect from those making the decisions and moving the money and those actual providing the daily services to our students. We need to listen to staff to make sure their voices are being heard and included when making these decisions, because we feel they're not being taken fully into consideration. We have learned that despite the insistence that the district has a BC or BA or 2 on staff, the reality is the special education teams do not actually have easy access to these BCBAs. We also know some schools like Legacy don't have special education teacher, let alone additional behavior supports. People will argue that guns and cops on campus will make the school safer, but that's not addressing the underlying problem that some students are really struggling and need more mental health and behavioral supports. They cannot access their curriculum when this is the case. That means we as a district are doing a disservice to these students by not addressing this very real problem. So if we're going to talk about money allocation to improve safety at the schools, it only makes sense to be taking into consideration the actual root issues, the fact that our kiddos with IEPs deserve better. Please look at using the remainder ESSER funds for the behavioral and mental health supports that we need. Then I'll go ahead and wrap up right there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amber. Madam Priscilla?
Since policy 8805 was revised 2 weeks ago, there's been an attempt to distort the facts surrounding the new safe space sign. It is true, I did walk through the school and took a tour with school administrators, which I'm entitled to do, but I never had any intentions of removing any safe space signs, and I'd never do that. There were also incorrect comments made about John Conley and how Brighton handles unauthorized signs. To be clear, John does not remove signs himself, but he enforces the policy and has them removed. This is what we expect our superintendent to do as well. I talked to Cindy Shaw this afternoon and was told the approval and rollout of the new sign has stalled because certain members of the board feel as though this sign is not allowed under the newly revised policy 8805. Their argument is so ridiculous, I'm not going to waste my 3 minutes trying to explain it. It will be brought up by Cindy and discussed during the board reports later in the meeting. Another argument they floated out was that the new sign was not intended as a replacement, but was to be used in addition to the rainbow sticker. This is complete BS. When I met with Cindy on May 15th to review the new design, we talked about this being a replacement and how it came at a good time for the changeover could be done during the summer break with less impact on the students. Glenn, Greg, and Michelle have been kept in the dark. They have reached out to Chris and Cindy asking to see the new sign, and they have refused to share it with them. All board members are elected by the public and are expected to work together. So how is this okay for Chris and Cindy to pick and choose which board members they want to share info with? This is wrong. Along with the 3 board members, the public has been asking to see the new sign as well. So Chris and Cindy need to stop playing games and release it, or give a good explanation as to why it's being held up. They both have an election coming up, and I think they're taking heat from their supporters for daring to work with someone for the right to get this done. They need to quit trying to distort the facts in an effort to distance themselves from this. They did a great job in helping get the new design to this point, so it is time to put politics aside and complete the job they started. This nonsense from the left needs to stop. They are not being victimized. I believe in fair and equitable treatment of all students. There are students that are marginalized for all kinds of different reasons, and nothing needs being done for them. The left seems to think the LGBTQ students are special or better than everyone else and deserve special coddling and treatment. This is wrong. No student deserves to be bullied, and at the same time, no student deserves preferential treatment. Every student is one of 5,100 students in the district, and they are no better than or no less than any other student. It is based on this belief that the new safe space sign was created, as it truly does represent all students. So let's get it approved and move on.
Lori Leach.
What's up, everyone? Okay. It's a hard name to. First of all, can we ever bring the speaker back here? Because this isn't like meant for people like me. It's hard for me to stand. So can you?
We can get a microphone. If you want to sit up there, we can.
Well, I'm up here already.
Yeah, we have a microphone that you can use next time. Just let us know.
Bill, you know it?
It's funny because I didn't put my last name on the card, but you guys have known me for years. I graduated here. So I just wanted to start off by saying, we met up with a couple hundred parents last week after the last board meeting, June 12th. And they found it very discriminating and racist when you guys spoke up here talking about straight kids, transgenders, gays, lesbians, we're all one. And we were told by you guys 2 weeks ago, they lost their rights. When those high schoolers came to the principals in high school and asked them for their help, they didn't feel safe. Can we make something for everyone? They were turned down. And Chuck, you were upset last time because you told the teachers, or you said you didn't know how to tell the teachers how they're going to have to get rid of their safe space. But these kids that came to you guys for your help, you turned away. I wasn't raised like that. That was horrible. And everybody knows about the incident. And then after the meeting, which is a public meeting, after the board meeting, I went up to talk to Cindy and asked her for permission to talk to her. And she said, yes. Chris, and I believe it might have been Rachel, I'm not sure, she took the hammer at me, all because I was speaking to Cindy. And yet I have every right. None of you guys have authority over me. Cindy gave me permission to talk to her after the board meeting. And you attacked me, and so was I attacked by a hammer. And it's all filmed, and this is just ridiculous. I have just as much rights as anybody else. But these children, if you're not transgender, you have no rights. That's what you guys have done. You've caused division and hate. These kids came crying to me. I've known them, majority of them through their parents from when I graduated. And these kids are dramatized and scared because they have friends that are transgenders, and transgenders have friends with straights. Now you're dividing them and telling them they have nowhere to go. And I think that's just horrible. And you guys need to know everyone should be treated the same. Color, if you're gay, lesbian, straight, it should not matter. And you guys should be reaching out to all kids. Now, Chris, that was horrible because you said that straight kids have all months. Transgenders only have June. Chris, I've never seen a straight month in my life. I mean, are you kidding? I love everybody. These are your kids, whether they're transgender or straight, you have to love them all. We grew up here, we're fine. We had trans, we had gays, we had straights, you name it. I just need you to know that you guys work for us and you need to take care of our children. My son's scared. So I don't know if he's coming to, because I know which ones of you guys don't like me, and my son's scared as hell to go in because he's been messed with for stupid stuff, for having Black Brewery on a sweatshirt from his woodshop teacher in 8th grade, okay? Because the teacher don't like me, which is fine. I don't care if you like me or not, but I have just as much right up here to tell you that these kids need to be loved by everyone and not, hey, if you're not transgender, you can't be in the safe space, or you're straight, you have nowhere to go, and I told you that. I mean, you literally said, Chuck, you were scared to tell the teachers not to take the space stickers away. But yet you told straight kids, we can't help you. Sorry, there's no help for you. You guys are not our concern. Everybody should be your concern. Is it my time, Chris? Okay, just love all the kids and realize it doesn't matter if you're transgender, gay, straight. Love them all.
Thank you, Lori. Mary Beth Patricus.
I'd like to read a prayer for gender clarity. Father, remove every thought from our children and adults that would tell them they are the wrong gender. Remove from them the path of lies and destruction. Give them great clarity about their birth gender and help them to embrace it. Protect them from wicked, dark forces and evil agendas. As you did in the Garden of Eden, place an angel with a flaming sword that turns every way in front of them on the path. Let that angel stand between every individual in the path of destruction that is gender confusion. Let the angel with the flaming sword turn them back if they even attempt to go down that path of unrighteousness, harm, and danger. Abba, Father, have mercy on us. Your word says that when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will raise up a standard against him. The enemy has come in like a flood with the lies and propaganda of sex changes, surgeries, gender confusion, and mutilation. Please help us, O Lord Jesus. O Spirit of the Lord, raise up a standard against the enemy. We pray in Jesus' name. Force the enemy to flee. Wake the American people up. Let each and every person, even the ungodly, see every lie about gender as the lie that it is. Let us soundly and roundly reject and eschew every lying tongue, every falsehood, every wicked strategy. Let us firmly denounce these untruths related to gender confusion. Rebuke the devourer on behalf of every person. Prevent the enemy from devouring the lives of those impacted by this wicked gender changing agenda. Father, help those people who are detransitioning back into the original gender for which you created them. Make a way for them to have all of the medical care, support, and help they need. Visit them day and night by your Spirit and affirm them, confirm them, comfort them, instruct them, lead them, help them to know you and to fully perform your purpose for their lives through saving faith in Jesus Christ our Lord. Thank you, Abba Father. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. And in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans you have for me, a plan to prosper and not to harm me, a plan to give hope and a future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. George Stanley.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why I'm here today and I want to talk is that I see in the places where I worked before, a lot of kids get hired and they get lost because they don't know what to do. And when you ask, why did you become an engineer? Why did you become a salesman? Why did you become such and such? They say, because I didn't know what to do and I picked up something that to go to college just to have a degree. Is any way that you guys can dive a little bit deeper and see and give to the kids a direction that if the kid is not to go, is not a guy that can be an engineer or nurse or a doctor, he can become somebody, a car mechanic or something else. So it's better if you guys as a school board put something together for the future and for the kids that are coming to guide and not to let the kids by themselves and get depressed and they don't know what to do after. That is very important for the future of the kids. Another thing that I was thinking a couple of times when I was in the school board meeting, and I've been in a couple of school board meetings in different places, is the way how the layout is. By showing my back to the people in the back, for me, it seems like disrespect there. Why don't we put the people to talk over there? And another thing is that by seeing their face, I'm talking right now, the people don't know my face right now. And I walk over there and they have 2 or 3 minutes to see who I am. By seeing over there in the corner, somebody talking, pay respect to you guys that are here and the other people that are here. Because you guys need respect, but you have to understand that the respect that you guys supposed to have came and you got elected from the people behind me. So why don't we respect both of them at the same time? And this is what I have for tonight. And I wish to all the people who work in the school and teachers a nice, good summer time.
Thank you, George. Barbara Tonkovich.
I'm coming before you as an ambassador for Christ again. This is from God's word, not mine. Romans 1:18 through 32. This is a warning. The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of people who suppress the truth by their wickedness, since what may be known about God is plain to them because God has made it plain to them. For since the creation of the world, God's invincible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. For although they knew God, they never glorified him as God, nor gave thanks to him. But their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools. Therefore, God gave them over in the sinful desires of their hearts to sexual impurity, for the degrading of their bodies with one another. They exchanged the truth about God for a lie and worshiped and served created things rather than the Creator. Because of this, God gave them over to shameful lusts. Even their women exchanged natural sexual relations for unnatural ones. In the same way, the men also abandoned natural relations with women and were inflamed with lust for one another. Men committed shameful acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty for their error. Furthermore, just as they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, so God gave them over to a depraved mind, so that they do what ought not to be done. They have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, depravity. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice, gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, boastful. They invent ways of doing evil. They disobey their parents, although they know God's righteous decree that those who do such things deserve death. They not only continue to do these things, but also approve of those who practice them. But this is the solution. But now the righteousness of God has been revealed, which comes by believing with personal trust and confident reliance on Jesus Christ. And it is meant for all who believe, for there is no distinction, since all have sinned. All are justified with God freely by his grace through the redemption which is only provided in Christ Jesus. And my prayer is that you will consider these words from God through the summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Hi, so I'm going to start by first of all saying this. There's quite a few people in here that love to dismiss anyone that disagrees with them by saying, oh, they're outsiders. So I will say this, I have lived in Heartland Township since 2005, and I have graduated Heartland High School in 2019. Now, given that, I'm going to talk about what happened 2 weeks ago at this board meeting, when policy 8805 was changed to outlaw the pride flag in schools. Now, it is my understanding that the reason this happened is because some man back there got offended, or specifically because supposedly his straight son feels uncomfortable because of the rainbow flag. Well, if that's the case, I'm sure there's plenty of people that feel more uncomfortable by that flag right there. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Some people here like to make arguments that the reason that we need to get rid of these stickers is because it is sexual in some way, because the stickers sexualize children. I want to tell you a story. I read Twilight, the series of books, as a child, and no one thought that was a problem because Twilight is about straight relationships. But if it was a gay book, I am sure that we would be up in arms about it right now. And of course, if we're talking about rainbow stickers being sexual, and that's why we're getting rid of them from schools, I sure hope there are no Bibles in the library. Because lots of people here are doing this based off the Bible. Am I wrong? Well, since apparently it has become a tradition here to read Bible quotes, I will do my own reading of Bible quotes. While they were enjoying themselves, some of the wicked men of the city surrounded the house. Pounding on the door, they shouted to the old men who owned the house, "Bring out the man who came to your house so we can have sex with him." The owner of the house went outside and said to them, "No, my friends, don't be so vile. Since this man is my guest, don't do this outrageous thing. Look, there is my virgin daughter and his concubine. I will bring them out to you now, and you can use them and do to them whatever you wish. But as for this man, don't do such an outrageous thing." If you found that vile, that's the Bible for you. And we are letting the Bible run our schools, and that is wrong.
Thank you, Alan. Rubio Hashi.
As a parent to a child who will be going through the process of being identified for special education services in the Heartland Consolidated School District, and as a special education teacher myself, I am here to voice my concerns regarding the historic lack of attention that our SPED program receives when the board is looking at money allocation. It is clear that we have high needs cases in our district who are not receiving adequate services. We've all heard the stories of kids at school who have severe behaviors that are not being addressed adequately, as evident by the continuation and escalation of said behaviors. Situations are not improving, but rather continuing to get worse. I'm also the president of Livingston Integrity, and we ran a community survey collecting school budget input specifically from Heartland stakeholders who identify as parents, caregivers, staff, or taxpayers here. This past month, 95.6% of Heartland stakeholders stated that they are concerned about mental health access in our school district. Given the fact that we have plenty of ESSER funds that can be designated for mental health support, there is exactly zero reason our kids should be lacking in this area. There's $3.7 million sitting there. The need is clear, the money is there, it needs to be used to help kids now who have barriers accessing their curriculum. It's concerning that some sitting here on this board feel that the students with these extra needs are a drain on our resources, and that the answer is to simply remove them from gen ed, which is not only illegal, but also clearly not a reflection of what the majority of the community wants, which is increased mental health and behavioral supports for the kids who need it so that they can be successful in school in the least restrictive environment. There's also very real worries regarding the lack of qualified staff in our district. Over 90% of the survey respondents stated that they are concerned about the teacher shortage. Looking at teacher compensation packages could be a start when trying to tackle this issue. What incentives are we offering? Close commutes to work are not going to cut it anymore. There needs to be stipends for education. There could be minimum starting salaries of $50,000. ESSER funds can be used as sign-on bonuses, even for financial housing incentives. Schools nationwide and even starting on the west side of the state are doing this already. They're getting creative and they're thinking outside the box. However it looks, whatever way you have to move or release funds, what is clear is that the majority of Heartland stakeholders feel that there needs to be money allocated to help recruit and retain qualified staff. There's been a lot of discussion around what keeping schools safe looks like.
usually with the resource officers being the main focus. But this is just a Band-Aid fix. If we aren't addressing the actual issue, which starts by the fact that the kids need access to help that they need, which is not currently possible when we have schools without even special education teachers on site. Students needing more resources via increased behavioral and mental health supports and hiring more qualified staff are some things that we really hope that you will be taking seriously into consideration during your budget discussions, especially given that we could be using 3.7 million in ESSER funds to go towards them.
Thank you, Julie. Karen and Greg.
Hi, my name's Karen Gregg, and as a parent and community member, I can no longer remain silent. I spoke to you a couple of meetings ago and expressed my vision of the board as a shining example of cohesiveness with students as the priority. Instead, I see continued decisiveness. This board has spent hours at the last 3 meetings arguing about a rainbow sticker, and that let marginalized and bullied students know they were entering a safe and non-judgmental space. Most students probably never even noticed this because they never felt threatened. But for some reason, community and board members were so threatened by something that has no effect on them that they insisted on removal and replacement. This makes you look silly, political, and not putting students first. I understand that one of the employees named in the pending federal racial harassment lawsuit has been appointed to the new student support role and has been tasked with developing the replacement sticker. I hope that in that role, the Gay Straight Alliance Club will be consulted for input and wishes respected if they say they want the rainbow sticker to remain, because that is who the sticker is for, not easily offended adults. In a recent local survey on school board priorities, 95% of the respondents stated that mental and behavioral health are real concerns and should be a discussion topic, monetary priority, and focus of yours, because it seems that political agendas and prejudice have been your priorities, not what you were elected to do, which is to provide a safe, quality education for all students. Come on, Heartland, we can do better for the kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Corey Charbonneau.
Hello. So Livingston Integrity ran a community survey collecting school budget input from Heartland stakeholders, and that's kind of what some of us have been referring to tonight. So here are the common themes that were the majority. 83% said that efforts to pressure school boards that want to ban certain curriculum is troubling to them. One responder said a small but loud group of right-wing extremists try to dismantle our wonderful school district book and curriculum banning, lack of inclusive policies, create hate of the unknown. So we need to make a commitment to all kids and those who are marginalized, and making a commitment to kids with extra needs comes from the top. It is the administration recognizing the need and investing in that help. This is not an easy path. It takes dedication to educating yourself and the community in the district, and having conversations with teachers and parents. And I love the panel. Thank you for doing that. We need to keep that dialogue open and really listen and take meaningful action. So in the survey, the top 3 concerns related to kids, we asked people, stakeholders in the community, what were the top concerns related to kids in the school year coming up? And a stakeholder said board taking over curriculum, books being banned is their biggest concern. Another stakeholder said lack of behavioral health, lack of classroom supports, attacks on teachers and curriculum. Another one said special education funding, SEL curriculum, and having a science of reading-based reading curriculum. Access to supports for curriculum intervention, social work supports, and small class size was something that they were worried about that they wanted. Teaching and staffing shortages, special ed availability, specifically sufficient parapros, and the school environment being safe, accepting, engaging of all people. According to the Department of Education, you have about $3.76 million in ESSER funds, and I'm not going to claim to know how that goes. I'm not an expert in that. But I'm wondering, you know, with the budget meeting that you're having tonight and the discussions that you've had coming up and prior and may have when we leave, if something can be kind of allocated from those ESSER funds. We really want to see our marginalized kids, especially our special ed and our vulnerable populations. The answer is not to remove our behaviorally challenged students from the gen ed population. Most parents and teachers will tell you that these kids are not an awful drain on public education. They just need some extra help in the form of mental health and behavioral supports, and that all these need to be prioritized so that all children are able to access the curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. So ends the call to the public. Item 1G, board reports. Mr. Fowler, we'll start with you tonight.
Thank you. Just another reminder that the Chamber of Commerce is doing a Heartland Art Walk this fall. Visit heartlandliving.com to find out information. We encourage students, anyone in the community can enter their art. It'll be a 2-week event. Kickoff will be in September. So go to heartlandliving.com to check that out. And then the second thing I'd like to address is the sticker. So I have just a few things to say. First of all, I would like to make it clear, and I've made it clear before, I will say it again. When administration asked the board to address this issue, I worked with administration at the high school to have a student created sticker made. It was always an alternative, not a replacement. I have stated publicly that I support our teachers that wish to have a safe space sticker in their building, in their classroom, and I still support that. However, due to the policy update of 8805, that passed at the last meeting, the alternative sticker is not moving forward until Mr. Hughes has guidance on implementation of the policy update. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Shaw. Mrs. Coleman.
Let's see, I mentioned last time that I was going to be participating in a spelling bee as a judge. Thank God not as a speller, but our senior center, along with the other senior centers and some of the senior housing facilities in the area, they do this event, I guess, every year, along with about 3 or 4 other events that pull all of the groups together from the community, and it was great. They provided lunch. There was transportation for the folks to get here. They actually sat right up here at the board table, gave the room an entirely different feel. The spellers sat up here, and there was participation from the community as judges. Our pro-main library director acted as the enunciator, and she called out all the words, but it was fabulous. It was a lot of fun, a lot of cheering going on for each of the residences or the senior centers. You know, when a Heartland person spelled something right, they have their pom-poms and they're cheering for them. So I mean, it was great. Total good, heartwarming fun. And I'm happy to say that they do stuff like this 3 or 4 times a year together as a group. So that was great. I'm very thankful to be part of that. And then also related to Matt's presentation earlier, I want to thank Chuck for setting up a couple of times where we can walk through and check out the progress of the bond construction throughout the summer. I really appreciate that. It was tons of fun to see all that come together last year when we did that in elementary schools with the collaboration centers. So I can't wait to see how it comes together with the other schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Coleman. Mrs. Layback.
Congrats to our softball team. You guys have a lot of little girls in the community that are looking up to you right now, and even if softball is not their primary sport, might be reconsidering. So that's super awesome. Super exciting for our community, how many athletes that really take pride in their academics, athletes that take pride in progressing through the through academics and athletics in college and really making Heartland shine and have a spot on the map. So super awesome. A couple of other things, and it's really unfortunate that I have to say this, and perhaps I know we don't have a large crowd here, but I want to make it very clear that I will not be threatened. Will not threaten me, nor will I tolerate actually threatening anyone on the school board. I think that it's very unfortunate that I have to say that, and you will not threaten my children. And so I'm a mom and a wife first, and it's and that is something I take very seriously. So that might be a fault of mine to the public, but it's really unfortunate. So I want to make that very clear. The third thing I want to know, actually, a parent reached out to me in regards to some ideas around implementation of a safe space sticker program, tying actual resources to it. The idea at a very high level was actually to tie resources for our most vulnerable populations to the sticker and have those teachers potentially go through some extra training or some extra training on how to connect them to said resources. So it could be a kid that doesn't have a place to sleep tonight. It could be any type of kid, any really kid that would have some type of need, student that would have some type of need. It could be social, it could be financial, could be a million other things. And really investing in that and actually putting some programmatics around that. So interested to talk about that and understand how that might be an opportunity for actually us to create some structure and programmatics around it. And kind of roll it out, you know, obviously with the new school year, and make sure we're taking advantage of some of the resources in the community that students or parents or family members, guardians may or may not know about. Other than that, I have nothing else to share.
Thank you, Mrs. Slayback. Mr. Keller.
All right, short report this month or 2 weeks later, I guess. Again, congratulations to the girls softball team. Well done. Great season. Make everybody in Heartland proud, I know. So encouraging to hear that we have a lot of youth on the team as well. So maybe there'll be some future state championship rafters that we can celebrate. Just wanted kind of just some observation I made at this previous board meeting and others, just actually for the board, as a just kind of a friendly reminder that we tend to stray a little bit from Robert's rules, which says that everybody kind of gets a chance to talk before other people speak again. So I just wanted to remind everybody of that, just out of courtesy. So hopefully we can kind of keep that in mind. I know it does get heated sometimes, but let's try to keep the professional courtesy and parliamentary procedures in place. Last thing, I just wanted to thank Rachel for her generosity in her time this past week, going through all of the crazy budget questions that I had for her. So I want to appreciate, make sure she knows that she's appreciated for all her hard work. I know it takes a lot to get all that stuff together, and everyone here sees the 5 or 10 minutes outcome of that, but it does take a lot of work. So I just want to tell her we appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Keller. Mrs. Blondell.
Thank you. Yeah, our sports here at Heartland is second to none. So I mean, I've always been very proud of Heartland as far as that's concerned. So thank you to JD and all the teams that play so hard, because Megan's right, people start to look up to those kids. So they're already being role models, and that's amazing, because we want role models to graduate from Heartland. And clearly JD showed that there are many role models that graduate or that are graduating from Heartland. Second thing I want to say is, you know, I didn't really want to address this, but I guess I will, being called right-wing extremists and saying that we have a political agenda. I absolutely denounce that, because it's not true. My agenda is to protect the innocence of children. And when I say protect the innocence of children, I mean it, because I don't want to think that our district is providing our students contested ideology. And I believe that that's what much of this is. It's contested ideology. And of the, you know, the majority of the people that stop me in the store, call me, text me, email me, this is their sentiment. and I represent them. So I'm not a right-wing extremist, nor am I somebody that, you know, doesn't appreciate all children, because I do. I love all children. And that's why I feel it's necessary that we protect all children. Megan and I and some of the other board members are talking about, we want more broad spectrum, taking care of children, all children, not just, you know, some feel are marginalized, because there are a lot of children that need support. So we're gonna be working on that as a board, and hopefully bringing some, you know, some more resources if possible, or utilizing current resources and expanding their roles. Whatever we can do to support our children is what we're gonna do. Thank you.
Mr. Gogolski.
Thank you, Mr. Costa. Again, too, with following everyone else, big congrats, and I don't know how many are left here, but big congrats to the girls softball team. Stellar work. Everyone here is extremely proud of you. And I hope that with some of the, it was mentioned before, with some of the youth on that team, hopefully we can build a dynasty. And to those that are graduating, I wish you the best of success. Last weekend, I had a chance to meet a young man who was part of the, and excuse me if I get this wrong, sort of the fireman program or emergency tech program here at Heartland. And he absolutely raved about it. He had nothing but great things to say. And going along the lines of what I believe Mr. Scandy said earlier, there's a lot of space for improvement in getting kids trained in vocations that are not the normal college path. There's plenty of room that we need to kind of expand that program. And I hope we give it a lot more thought and put more resources towards that. We are losing a generation of male students. We really are, who are finding themselves kind of adrift and not finding college a good alternative. And I hope we can put some resources toward that. Also, Mr. Hughes provided some info earlier this week to the board. It was a really interesting article, Mr. Hughes, that you said regarding math scores dropping across the US. And if there's one subject in school that is absolutely essential for kids to have at least some knowledge of, it's math. And I hope we can work on maybe expanding or leading the charge on getting math scores up. Also, as far as the alternate sticker, I did not appreciate being denied access to a copy of that, and I will not accept that in the future. So with that, I hope we can get that out. And if there's guidance that's needed, I will be more than happy to volunteer my time and demonstrate how we can take things down. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gogolski. I just have a couple things. First, there were some comments made from the public that simply weren't true. One regarding the sticker, I don't have it to share. So the fact of the matter was that I'm not sharing it. It's simply not true. I don't have it. There's another comment made, something about an attack with a hammer. There was no attack with the hammer. Just wanted the public to be clear on that. We've got the sheriff here as well. But I'm going to end on a positive note here, and I know my fellow board members have mentioned our softball team. I did go up to Lansing to watch them, and it was amazing. They are an amazing group of kids, and not only that, they represented themselves well off the field. I know they go with their hashtag family, and it is so true. Like I cannot be more proud of how they represented our district, and kudos to them, the coaches, their families, the stands, the students that were there. Everybody was so well behaved. We had the Eagle there. It was great. So it's just a really great thing and a great way to end for those senior girls. I can't wait to see where the team goes next year. With that, I'm all set. Item 2B, 2022-23 budget amendments.
I recommend that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent and the chief financial officer, approves the budget amendments as presented.
Motion by Mrs. Claybaugh, support by Mrs. Coleman. Discussion.
Again, thank you to Rachel. It's been quite a year of learning for me and all my complex questions of how we code things on invoices and so on and so forth. And you're so patient with all of us, and we really, really appreciate it. And to us, you are the most important in your family. So we just want to make that noted. So make sure your family knows that.
Again, too, I'd like to thank Rachel as well. She put up with some very rudimentary questions and gave just stellar layman's explanations to some of the questions that I had. And I thank you for that.
Hey, Glenn and Greg, was I not lying when I said you might find someone as good as her, but not someone better? Come on, you gotta admit, she's good.
Oh, yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. She was nothing fazed her. You couldn't ask a question too stupid. So I appreciate that.
Wonderful. Hearing no more discussion, Mr. Gillespie.
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw.
Yeah.
Mrs. Fuller.
Yeah.
Mrs. Claybaugh.
Yeah.
Mr. Keller.
Yes.
Mrs. Blondell.
Yeah.
I myself am a yes, that motion carries. Item 2C, General Appropriations Act Resolution 2023-24.
I move that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent and the chief financial officer, approves the General Appropriations Act Resolution 2023-24 as presented. Or
Motion by Mrs. Shaw, support by Mrs. Claybaugh. Discussion. Hearing none. Mr. Gillespie.
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw.
yes.
Mrs. Fuller.
Yes.
Mrs. Claybaugh.
Yes.
Mr. Keller.
Yes.
Blondell.
Yes.
I myself am a yes, that motion also carries. Item 2D, high school weight room.
I recommend that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the chief financial officer and the director of operation, approves the high school weight room equipment purchase as presented.
Motion by Mrs. Claybaugh, support by Mrs. Coleman. Any discussion? I know we talked about it last time, like Mr. Keller.
Yeah, just have some, I guess, questions that I wanted to ask Matt if I could.
So I will try to answer any questions. I was,
You probably know what they are, right?
I probably do, but I was not the only person involved in the decision-making process on this, but I will do my best.
Okay, so it looks like, according to the website, Spec Athletic.
Yep.
Was being recommended, that they use a recycled rubber floor mat.
Correct.
I guess, just first of all, is that a correct assumption?
Usually, yes, when it comes to those type of materials, used in either turf surfaces or rubber surfaces for weight rooms, they do use recycle. The means and methods are something that would have to be investigated, and we would do prior to installation. I know one of your questions was, are they using environmental hazards or that type of thing? That would be part of the installation process, making sure that they follow all state guidelines as part of their installation.
Okay, because one of the things I wanted to confirm was in there on the website, it lists, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but Regipol, it's a German company.
Better than I did, yes.
That's, again, obviously, they have good product. You can see a lot of testimonials and they do other high school weight rooms. And so no question whether or not they're qualified or not. Again, my main concern was just with recycled rubber. It tends to be old tires, which can be a wide variety
Correct.
of tires, and there's differences in what materials are in there, and
Yep.
There could potentially be some hazardous material that is used. And I know that some of them tend to have to require, they require the Prop 65 labeling, which is admittedly very wide in terms of the net that it has for materials, but I guess I just want to make sure that before we go forward with any new flooring, that we're 100% sure that the materials are safe for the kids. And so wanted to understand, you know, what kind of safety testing do they do on the floor and make sure that there's no restricted substances or substances that could potentially cause cancer or birth defects or developmental delays and so on.
We can definitely follow up on that part installation. I know they go through rigorous testing with ASTM and all the other industries out there. They are also installed at the University of Michigan, which I'm just assuming they put it through the ringer also, being the University of Michigan, but something we can definitely follow up prior to actually issuing the contract.
I called them.
No.
You guys know.
I know.
I
You should just look to your right. Left.
And I forwarded you, they sent me their testing. Because they don't just test actually in a school classroom site, they actually test via a small personal like private office. So that it would in theory not have as much air movement as like our weight room and so on and so forth. I will forward these you.
Thank you.
Matt,
Yeah.
into.
I have a quick question for you too, Matt.
Yes.
In the redoing of the weight room, which I'm really happy to hear about, are there measures being taken to kind of help prevent things like molds and
Yep.
substances like that?
Yeah, so you know, that is a highly used space, which is good.
Yeah.
So usually when we go through, we're gonna go through and clean the surfaces. We select paints that are able to withstand those things. We use those in our restrooms, also our high humidity areas, that type of thing. One of the reasons why we're selecting this floor in particular is it is a poured seamless floor so that we don't get things down inside, down in crevices and that type of thing. So selecting those type of products will cut down on mold and humidity or moisture, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's great. From experience, I noticed that those kinds of places tend to accumulate mold and what have you. And that's very hard for people with respiratory illness and what have you. So thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Ms. Fran. Any more questions for us?
Super exciting.
It is
Yes.
super exciting. I
Yep.
can't wait
And
to see it done.
as you saw in my letter, we're gonna push to have this done hopefully over the summer, but due to lead times, this might have to be a holiday break, which I talked with both sets of vendors. They are able to hopefully get it in a 2-week time frame. The flooring company did say about 2 days to do their work, and then the weight room company, and we'll just have to work with the high school administration to make sure that we're not impacting student learning. So.
And I think we're still on target to at least have it painted.
Yep.
The facility, the walls painted, ceiling painted, and install some technology that they're looking for.
Correct.
And then just bring in the equipment and pull the equipment out, put the floor in, put the new equipment, the old equipment back. So
yep.
That should be something we could easily do during Christmas holiday break.
Correct. Thank you.
Hearing no more discussion, Mr. Wojciechowski.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman.
Yes.
Mrs. Clayton.
Yeah.
Mr. Keller.
Need more info, so I'm gonna know.
Mrs. Blondell.
I'm with Mr. Keller. I just want a little more info on the materials being used, because I'm very sensitive to that stuff as well. So I'm a no.
And myself, I'm a yes, that motion carries 5-2. Next, item 3A, superintendent contract extension. So that was brought before the board. I just speak real quick to it, like we had a conversation. So every year, essentially what happens is the superintendent's contract comes out, and there's discussion on it, and then on the following meeting, we vote to extend that another year essentially, or roll over, shall you be. So just something we've done in the past. So with that said, I mean, we can talk about it now. We have a month. I know Mr. Keller was wondering about seeing the superintendent's contract, because I got that email, but I didn't get back to him until just recently, like prior to the meeting. So it is available for all the board docs to see. So, you know, Mr. Hughes will email that out to all of you if you so inclined obviously want to see it, and then maybe that might help better our discussion prior to the next meeting. Any more discussion on it?
Yeah, I had a quick question. And I asked Mr. Hughes this in his office too, and I just wanted to get some confirmation that this was there was an original 5-year contract, and then just every year we vote to extend it one more year, and then it's just a continuation of that original one.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And the history behind that, for board members that haven't been here, which I don't think most of you were here when I was hired originally and prior to me, the superintendents too, is we always did the superintendent contract rollover at the same time we did the administrative contract rollovers. Always did it that way for all the time that Pete Caroselli and Jan Zipperman were superintendent, and I think my first 3 years as superintendent. And then the board had a conversation that was led by a board member to say, it didn't make sense to this particular board member to extend my contract prior to my evaluation being completed. So the board decided to go ahead and do the March rollover of the administrative contracts, if they were so inclined to do so, and move my rollover to discussion item after the evaluation was complete. So this was just carried over, and when you get a copy of my contract, you'll see that my contract says that the board shall roll the contract over prior to March 30th. It still says that in there, but I've been amicable with the board to wait till the evaluation is done and then ask for that to be added for a discussion item and roll over at a later date. So we've done it that way because it makes sense that you guys have a chance to evaluate me and then use that for your justification. So that's just the history of why it's done that way.
And I would just like to add that this is not unique to Heartland. This is found throughout essentially almost all school districts where they offer the courtesy of rolling over superintendent's contract. So.
So I need some clarification because I had asked you, I know that there was mixed reviews. And I said, you had announced that Mr. Hughes was deemed highly effective, and I said, okay, how is that determined? Based upon an average, and can you explain that again? Because I looked to see the evaluation, like on the form, how it says, because what I believe you told me was that you throw the bottom three away, and we only use the.
Well, no, I mean,
So can you just explain it? That's fine, I'm wrong, yeah,
No,
and I want you to explain it.
So Ms. Blondale, just to clarify, she's referencing the superintendent's evaluation report, which is on our transparency page, if you do want to see it. So there's 7 items that you can be scored highly effective, all the way down to ineffective. There's definitions of the domains, and then essentially what happens, and it says it on the transparency page, that you take the final determination based on the majority of the domains that were scored, and then you use that as a multiplier to end up with a set number. So that's kind of how it evolves. This is the same one that's used.
No, I couldn't find any of that direction that you gave, like that it says, like, like you take the majority, so.
Oh, I can,
if there's.
I mean, it's on, you can have mine, I print it off, but it's on,
I know, I had happy, but okay.
Yeah.
I'll take a look again, I appreciate it.
Sure.
And you said it says it where, that you use the
final page where it talks about how you take the majority of the ratings based on certain categories through 1 through 6. You then use a multiplier to arrive at a percent or a number or a portion of a number, and then you use the bottom score, which is number 7, which is student achievement.
Oh, I didn't see that in my, I didn't find what I had, so I guess it's for some reason, so apologize.
Oh, yeah, no,
I misread this, okay, so. Okay, I'll have to take a look at this a little closer and I'll let you know if I have any more questions.
Yeah, we've got a whole 3 weeks.
Okay. Okay.
Question, has it always been a 5-year contract? Or has it changed in the length of the?
Yeah, it had been a 3-year. We've had Pete Caroselli was under a 5-year. I don't think Jan ever had a 5-year. And then last year it became a 5-year.
Okay, so 22, it changed to a 5-year.
Right.
Okay, and then the evaluation process, I know you and I talked about it a little bit, so I don't have any questions on that, but I guess. Has it always been the same or has it changed?
Evaluation process?
Yeah, in terms of how we rate and the measure, the scale and all that stuff. Is it always been the same?
Yeah, each board member always scores a superintendent based on a certain number of categories. The prior board president, no offense to Mr. Dumont, if he's listening, was quite lengthy. In my opinion, didn't actually give the board an opportunity to truly express like why they were scoring the superintendent the way they were. So I sat down with Chuck and I wanted to see how does he score his administrators. I want to be more in line with that because quite frankly, the one that we used prior, I don't know where it came from. It didn't seem to align with a lot of what we were doing. I mean, you still got an opportunity to score them on some of the categories. Obviously, they fell in, but there was a number of things. So I felt it better that we kind of stayed aligned with what our administrators are being used.
Okay, so this was the first year of that style evaluation?
Correct.
Okay.
That's
all I have. Thanks.
That's it, all right? Any other discussion? Item 4A, future meetings, July 17, 2023, right here at 6:30. And then for informational items, item 4B, there is a proposed board meeting dates if the board, if you want to take a look at that, so you can get that on our calendars. Those are all dates that realistically fall in line with what we normally do.
Can I just mention some things? I think on the proposed board meeting dates, you have August 14th, is that correct?
Oh,
Or August 21st?
August 21st.
Okay, so we changed it from the second week to the third because August 14th, all the elementaries in the schools have back to school night. That's the first night staff comes back. Seemed like that would take away people, so we're suggesting it be the 21st. And then the June, if you go down to the bottom, we did 2 board meetings this month because the former assistant superintendent liked to have time to gather everything and get it ready. In talking with Rachel, she doesn't need that extra time because she feels like one meeting in June will be ready. She'll be ready to bring everything forward. So we feel like one meeting in June is fine. So that's why we're just we're taking one June meeting away.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Thank you again to Deputy Hilgert for being here. With that, we are adjourned.
Here. Oh, I'll send it out. Yeah, I think it's August 24th. Yeah, but I'll.